So after a somewhat rocky start to our school year, I feel like I finally found our homeschooling routine groove, and I'm going to share that with you today. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today I'm going to share with you my 2024-2025 homeschooling routine. Now, because we homeschool and, home is essential in homeschooling, I have some things that are going to be kind of intermingled that are more home-centered. So don't mind that, but it is actually part of my routine as a homeschooling mom. And these things are important to my home, my mental well-being, and just the groove of our house. So I'm going to kind of keep it as pithy as possible, but some things in here might not be technically curriculum or school centered. So this is just the groove of our house right now. Me personally, I get up before everybody in my house. It just makes everything run so much smoother. I get up before 7 o'clock in the morning, and my goal is to be working out at 7. And I do this for one big reason. One, because this has been my routine for 15 years. And two, I do not like any distractions when I'm working out. So I work out anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes every single weekday, so Monday through Friday, and then I take weekends off. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going maximum all the way through those 90 minutes. That means that, sometimes I'm just walking, sometimes I'm jogging, sometimes I'm doing strength training. It just depends on what I'm doing, but I work out anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes a day to keep my mobility, for my arthritis, for my cardiovascular health, because my lupus causes heart problems, so it's a good thing for me, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and it is a must-do thing in my day. Even if I don't get to do it in the morning, I will do it in the afternoon. So I always work out Monday through Friday at some point in my day, but I always make a point to do it early in the morning. So after I'm done with my workout and I'm dressed and I'm ready to go for my day, I always make my tea, which is piping hot right now, just the way that I like it. And then I usually get my Bible time in. So after everything kind of settles down for me, I got my tea, I can concentrate and focus now, because man, that fatigue kills me in the morning, and it's like my brain cannot fully function for like the first 60 minutes anyway. So once my brain kind of turns on, I can sit down, focus, and do Bible study in my personal study time. So we have family worship, but we also do individual studies, and that's my individual is my Bible study. I use the Ligonier Reformation Study Bible, and I use the schedule that's in the back of the Bible in a year, and I go through all of those, plus the notes down at the bottom has been extremely helpful. So I always get that done. And usually at that point, my kids are waking up, getting their breakfast, getting ready to go for their day, and they typically don't bother me a whole lot, so I can get that done. Now, side note here, I do have older kids. It wasn't always this way. So a lot of you who are rolling your eyes at me getting up early and working out, it was not always this way, okay? My husband used to work nights in the military, and a lot of times he was gone, training, deployments, you name it. He was all over the place, and I was the primary parent for, many years of that time. We lived overseas for a long time. He was deployed all the time over there. So I had two very young children. So I used to actually have to get up way earlier than that. The Marine Corps motto is usually adapt and overcome, one of their many mottos, but you always hear adapt and overcome. That was my motto when it came to working out and getting things done that I needed to get done, adapt and overcome. So if I had to do it at a different time, I did it at a different time. But at this stage in my life, when my kids are almost grown, I can do it when I want to do it now. So, I take advantage of that. So the first homeschooling thing that we do is we launch into what I like to call morning subjects. And morning subjects are those easy ones that I do not have to supervise, I do not have to help them with. So that is usually Bible, grammar, spelling, and any other like small thing, but usually those are the big three, is Bible, grammar, and spelling. I usually don't have to do anything. I have to check their grammar work and their spelling, but that's it. So I don't have to do anything for that. They launch into those by themselves without any help or prompting from me. And I'll also show you, I have their schedules right up here on the whiteboard. So one of the things that I do is I have their list of things that they need to do up here on the board, and then each kid gets their own list, and the stars just mean that we do these together. So whether or not we need to look at those together or we need to read them together, that's basically what that means. I also got a brand new bookcase. Look at that. Isn't that cool? My husband got it for us and I love it. So you might see that in an upcoming video, I don't know. If you want the link to this bookcase, let me know. I'll put it down below in the description box, but love this new bookcase for all my curriculum. Okay, so once they're done with their individual like small subjects, then they launch into the core subjects. Now, some of their core subjects we do together, or we do kind of this like thing that I do called reviewing. So my kids prefer to work independently. That's how they work best, and that's what they honestly prefer. So right now what I'm doing is, rather than like teaching it like a lot of subjects I did when they were younger, we read them individually and then we come together and have a discussion so I can check their comprehension. We can have any family discussions that I think we need to have about the material. They can ask any questions at that point. That's just how we've kind of adapted how I teach, and it seems to work out really well for everybody in the family. And my husband joins in most days on that too. So that's really how I teach the subjects now. So anything that I feel like we need to do that for, that's what we do. So that leaves me with a big gap in my time while they're doing these core subjects. So one of the things that I started doing is I started decluttering, and this is one of those home things that I'm talking about. So one of the things I've been adding into my routine each day is decluttering, and it's kind of become like this hobby of mine. Like it started out as one of those things that I needed to do because we have kind of a smaller house for all four of us, and I just went completely insane. And I have decluttered 4 truckloads. We're working on truckload number 4 right now. My husband is going to take the 4th truckload probably tomorrow. I cannot believe how much stuff we have in this house. But now that I have removed probably about 800 pounds of stuff, and I know this because they measure the weight of our truck when we drop things off that we don't need at the dump and things like that. A lot of it goes to Goodwill, but like we have everything in the truck and we take certain things certain places. Our truck gets measured at the dump, so like I'm keeping like a running tally of some of these things. Oh my goodness, like I'm so much happier. I did not realize this, but I have a clutter threshold, and I have found it. I have found it through this process. It's been a month now, and what I'm doing now is I'm taking 5 minutes a day and I'm decluttering during those 5 minutes. And sometimes it's like 15 minutes, sometimes it's 20, but I try to get rid of at least a handful of things a day. Now that I've done the initial decluttering, now I'm kind of working on those small areas. I've hit every area in my home, and now I'm kind of going back over it with a fine-tooth comb and just getting anything that I might have missed. And then it's kind of like a maintenance program. Like after I lost all the weight, I had to still work out to maintain that weight loss. It's the same thing with decluttering. Even though I've got all the clutter out and I love how my home is now, I do find myself having to constantly declutter. This has been a very enlightening activity for me to do. So if I have already worked out, if I have already cleaned the house, like everything's good, I go into decluttering. And this is also a really good time for me to pop in like a loaf of bread. I have to make all of our bread now because my son cannot tolerate sugar, and there's a lot of sugar in store-bought bread, more so than he can handle. So I make all of our bread from scratch, so it's a really good time for me to pop in a loaf of bread or to set out dinner, that type of thing. So I do a lot of like meal prepping and things like that while they don't need me. And it's also a good time for me to look over any curriculum that I'm going to be discussing upcoming. So anything that I feel like I need to look over, I look over. You guys know I have like my little purple notebook, and I keep that with me in the living room, and I just kind of go over anything they might be reading that day, make sure I review it. I have my questions in mind so we don't spend too much time on each subject, because they are getting older and they spend a lot more time on these subjects. So I try to make sure that it doesn't take too long for them to get done and move to the next thing. So I'm typically needed most during the core subject hour, and that's usually between like 10 and 12. And that's usually when they, give me things to grade. That's when we have our discussions and any type of chapter reviews, that type of thing. We are doing the IEW structure and style, like actual theme books this year. So I really have to work one-on-one with my son with the theme books this year. He's in grade 8. But next year he will be doing the structure and style with the computers. So I'm not really needed for that other than editing and things like that. He's pretty much a pro at it. He's been doing it since like 4th grade. So I'm not really needed a whole lot for some of these subjects. And my oldest child actually does a lot of these subjects on the computer this year. He is in 12th grade. I don't have to do a whole lot with a lot of these like online classes. They're, self-paced, that type of thing. He doesn't really need me for a whole lot of those. With him going off to college, he's gonna have to work a little bit more independently. Mom's not gonna be there to, be like his one-on-one teacher anymore. So it's good practice for him for college, but at the same time, it's just like, it's hard. So after core subjects are done, which usually take 1 to 3 hours depending on the day and what we're doing, do we have a science experiment, that type of thing? Then we have lunch, everybody eats. I make my lunch, my husband eats, all the kids eat. We all kind of eat at the same time, depending on what's going on in the house. But usually the kids make their own lunch. I don't have to worry about it, which usually they just eat the leftovers from dinner if I have any. And then they go into electives. After lunch is usually elective time. I save the electives until after the core subjects are done, because I feel less anxious if we get behind in a elective versus a core subject. So core subjects, I don't want them getting behind if possible, but electives don't really bother me. And usually electives take the least amount of time. So we're usually looking at 15 to 30 minutes tops for a lot of these electives, especially for my youngest. So I'm not really that worried about them, and it's easy to just save those for the end of the day. And that's really it. That's my schedule. There's not a whole lot after that. After electives are done, we don't have really any school things going on, so I can kind of just do what I need to do, whether that's meal prep, or if I didn't get my workout in the morning because I was sick or something, then I can get it in the afternoon. And then, the kids just kind of break off into their own things, their own hobbies. They go out and play basketball or, whatever they want to do. My youngest is learning a new instrument right now. He is self-taught with all of his instruments, so he is teaching himself the flute. I never played the flute. I played a lot of instruments in band, never played the flute. He's learning how to play the flute with a couple of YouTube tutorials, and he's already playing songs. Like, it's amazing how fast he picks it up. It is a natural talent. So really cool stuff there. So he works on flute and piano because he plays piano in our church now, and he taught himself how to do that too. So that kid, he really impresses me. I also get my read time in, so if I have a book, which I am always reading something, you guys know, then I will grab a book from my shelf and I will read one of my books. And I like doing that during the school day as well. Or I will sit and I will binge a book sometimes all afternoon if I have nothing else to do. Right now it seems like a little bit busier of a time for my family, so we have a lot of house projects going on. The big declutter was one of our big projects that started just as a me project and kind of spilled into everybody else by their own choice, which is great. I just started doing this project and then everybody else just like jumped in, and it was great. So the whole house is done now, and now we got to just work on the garage. That's, one of our biggest projects, and we have some stuff out in the yard, which now that the weather's cooling down, we can do. So I thought I would do this video and just show you guys kind of like what our routine is right now going into fall. And so far, I really like it. I have enjoyed our new routine. something that I can keep up with, and it's something that I feel like I can do easily and I don't fall behind with. And you know, my kids are getting older, so a lot of the stuff I'm not needed for it. It's kind of odd. So I thought it'd be neat to show like what a mom of older kids, what she does during the day. So this is my homeschool mom routine with teenagers. Little kids I feel like can be so much busier, but with older teen moms, it's different. It's a different type of busy. You know, sometimes you spend longer on a subject, but you're not needed as much for those subjects. You know what I mean? So it is different. Like, I'm still needed, but it's in a different capacity. So it is totally different from what I'm used to. So I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.